So the structure deck just before Trap Tricks was Dark World, and they had a lot of new cards and new support added to their arsenal. You're going to see the Fusion Monster, the Dragon Lord of Dark World, the absolutely amazing effect here. And it's mostly because of the fact that the way you fuse into it is by discarding using the Dark World accession. And of course, you're incorporating the new cards, the new version of Rainbow, and comboing that as well with Ceruli is how you get to that hand loop combo that you mentioned, Marcello.
But unfortunately, he did lose the die roll, and going second is very hard for this deck, potentially. So Anchi, on the other end, is playing a very unique version of Kashtira, at least in the ratios. So he's playing 3 copies of Crossout Designator. Probably thinks the mirror match would have been the most popular deck, but to pair those with, let's say a lot of one-offs which are very interesting. Why don't we go through some of them, Alberto?
Yeah, he has Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon, John Lockbird, evenly matched.
Yeah, okay. So I love this because the idea here is that they're good cards to draw, you know, and you combo that with Crossout if your opponent uses it against you. I guess it creates this sort of well-rounded offense and defense.
We could say if you draw it, it's fine.
If you don't draw it, it's also fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. I've never, like, some of these cards, it's been a while, I think. I mean, Droll and Lockbird has been kind of in and out of the format, but, you know, that's pretty good in the mirror match. What do you think about tier limit Kashtira?
It's I don't mind it. I mean, I think in general you can stick to just the Scareclaw, or especially it depends whether you want to go all out. I think, as we mentioned, Kashtira either go for like a 5-zone block, or it can go for a more of a just an Arise Arcana deck, and that is because of the fact that you can play the trap card and you can play the Ogre. So if you don't play the Ogre, I think you have more space for the tier element. But here we see both, and here is exactly what we're going to see. Potentially Anchi can try and go...
Is this the 5-lock combo he's going for?
He could go for it, yeah.
Yeah, so that is one of the best and most powerful plays that Kashtira has available to itself, is being able to 5-zone lock like that. But you do put so many resources into it that if your opponent has an answer, either like a tribute, or if you go for monster locks, you know, Book of Eclipse, I think generally if you're going to do that, you probably go for the spell and trap zone.
But I think this is not the case, because in the main deck, Alberto is not playing an interruption. So
yeah, we saw some Dark World players maining Lava Golem just because it has some application. Worst case, you can use trade-in to discard it, but this is not the case for Alberto. It's really a deck that's focused on comboing off, and even to the extent that he's maining Cyberstein, which we haven't seen in a while. So
you think the idea with Cyberstein, I don't think it's searchable, right? You just simply draw into it.
Yeah,
because there's so much draw power in this deck. If you see it, then you just drop it on the field and summon Exterior, which is really hard to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point you can get to the School Dread Saruya, so even if you have normal summon...
Yeah? I think he's going for it.
He's definitely trying to go for it.
Yeah, no, he is doing it. All right, okay. Anchi trying to go for that 5-lock. And I haven't seen this personally yet on stream yet, so let's see if you can pull it off.
Do you agree with going for the spell and trap zones?
Well, I mean, so the idea here is that the spell and traps are sort of the more powerful cards, you know, Prosperity, evenly matched, and if you simply can't use any of those, all you're dealing with is monsters. So sometimes just a Rise Heart on a monster is enough to deal with that.
I definitely agree with you.
Maybe also at this point of the tournament, he might have seen Alberto what he's playing, no? Sitting at the high table.
Could very well be. And
when you get this deep in the tournament, you know, when you're finishing around, maybe have a look around your table, and you probably notice, you know, oh, this is the only Dark World player here.
Yeah, I mean, you would definitely notice something like this, especially if maybe went for like a Natura Exterior, and then you would hear, you know, some mumbling about it. So
I think we mentioned this just before, but the Fossil Warrior Skull Knight was banished off of the Prosperity, and this card you can reattach onto the Rise Heart, and what it does is you can banish it from the graveyard to destroy a monster your opponent controls. So quite a popular card that some people have been utilizing.
Yeah, I can tell you, I saw a lot of players looking for this card yesterday, but not many of them were successful, so it was one of the most looked for cards yesterday by far. Can't blame it. It's definitely interesting to use instead of the Garura for many.
All right, there's that Kashtira tier limit coming down here, banishing Big Bang. And Big Bang is that how you get the special summon of the material?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And here we see once again one of the future YCS prize cards in our playmat for the event in Diablos, and I do like that sometimes these prize cards are back as you know, being played actually competitively.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a good thing it was reprinted, shall
Yeah,
we say,
for
because
sure.
playing this deck would be quite hard. So there it is, the double Shangri-La, meaning that because of its non-once per turn effect, comboing that with Diablosis is going to be 4 more zones.
And this is brutal, yeah.
Yeah, this is something that, I mean, if you have the chance to do it, I think you just, you know, go for that. And if your opponent has any sort of interruption, just deal with this. But
what I will tell you is, Anchi, I personally know that this is the type of strategy that he would go with, you know, going all in. Fun little anecdote, he actually knocked me out of the European Championship playing Drytron turn skip with Amber Factor Pain. So, in a way, I guess it's kind of similar, you know, maybe he just likes playing those type of strategies. All right, so now he gets to look through the extra deck. And I think maybe he was debating on whether or not he lets that resolve, just cover up the deck. But as we maybe mentioned earlier, he probably knows what he's playing at this stage.
Exactly, yeah. He knows that from this point on it's very tough to come back. To be fair, there is a very slim chance of something going in with like the dangers, depending on how this goes. But it's very difficult for this to go any other way around, especially because now you start to banish a lot of cards from the deck as well from Alberto, because the Diablosis keeps, you know, stacking the amount of cards you banish. And, yeah.
All right, there is the chain resolving here for the first effect of Diablosis, removing a card from the extra deck, and then on the new chain, banishing cards from the top of the deck equal to the number of cards that are banished face down, and that is going to trigger both Shangri-Las. He also has the Goliath underneath the Rise Heart now.
And now, as you can see,
1,
this is
2,
it.
3,
this
4,
is it.
and 5. All spell and trap zones have been locked up.
Absolutely, and yeah, we saw this in YCS Las Vegas the last time. In the finals, actually, so locking pretty much almost all of the zones, not just the 5 spell and trap zones. But today, less so, more of a grind version of Kashtira, and let's see if there is any hope for Alberto.
Well, if there's one way to try and deal with this, it is probably going to involve a lot of danger plays. I think it's their best chance here.
Exactly. The problem is obviously also the effect of Rise Art. It's not... I guess that alone, you know, Dark World, ever since it was released, has been dealing with a huge issue. Like
dealing.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
All right, step 1, Kaiju.
Okay, nice.
All right, 2 zones unlocked. So if we have any good power spells and traps,
definitely the best way to start things off.
Yeah. So notice that he didn't Kaiju the Rise Heart, so he obviously values the zones more than the Macrocosmos effect. Don't you just love how Rise Heart just slowly turns into a binder?
he has a stack of material down there.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to deal with the Riser, though. I mean, even if the Kaiju was summoned...
Yeah, honestly, the Bigfoot might be one of the ways, because if you discard it, it still pops 1. So
yeah, so dangers still resolve when discarded, even if they are banished.
Okay. So he's just gonna do the same.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do like this.
Could you explain what he's doing here?
Essentially now, after the chain resolves, he's using a Riser on his own cards, so he's gonna lock again
2 more zones.
Yeah, 2 more zones.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right.
Because it's gonna trigger exactly both again the Shangri-La and then the Diablosis. So
yeah, no, I see. That's pretty genius. I think he's reading that his opponent needed spells and traps more. Otherwise, they would have Kaiju'd the Rise Heart.
Exactly.
All right. Well, he's making an effort here. You know, you'd think like once 5 of your zones are gone, you would hit the go next, but it seems like Alberto is trying to fight through this.
And there you go. So now we are gonna count how many cards have been banished up until now.
What do you think about playing something like Dart World in a meta that has Kashtira?
I mean, I don't think it depends solely on Kashtira.
Okay.
I have never been too much of a fan of discarding strategies. Similarly to like Light Swarm, in the sense that sometimes you can get unlucky, but I don't know. I think if you play more cards like Kaiju's, Lava Golem, something that allows you to have some hope going second, sure. Otherwise, it turns into a die roll kind of game. So
Yeah. All right, digging deeper through the deck with the Allure of Darkness this year, trying to find an answer to either the last Shangri-La or I'd say probably at this point, definitely the Rise Heart. All right, we're going to activate some dangers here. And, well, this is always sometimes a really sort of frustrating time with dangers. You know, you really need your opponent to hit the right ones.
Yeah, unfortunately, basically what's going on, if you were confused by the fourth zone going back and forth, is that Anchi thought that he could use the Shangri-La, but actually Shangri-La only activates if the card banished face down was owned and controlled by the opponent.
Ah.
So basically Anchi kind of...
wasted the Rise Heart, basically.
Yeah, wasted the Rise Heart and his own monster. But, I mean, he's that far ahead that maybe that's fine. But definitely risking it now.
All right, that's a Zeus eliminated out of the extra deck here. I think he is actually on... No, he's actually only on one. Okay, that makes sense.
So now it's where he can finally use his Shangri-La, his cards, potentially. Let's see. Gonna think about what's going on. Yeah.
So, Diablosis, ripping cards out of the extra deck. What do you think that does for deck building?
It's very tough, actually. And that's where these one-offs with the cross-out maybe are also a liability for Anchi in potentially a mirror match. But I mean, honestly, I think a lot of duelists have been dealing with tier elements for the past months, where it was similar. Like, they would consistently mill you 10 cards off the top of the deck. And that's also a way of dealing with deck building. And obviously, getting them banished, it's even worse, but it's not that as consistent as tier elements. So sometimes they just go a Rise Heart, you know. So.
5 zones blocked again.
Yep.
You know, when Rise Heart attaches Rise Heart, do you think it makes a super Rise Heart?
Could be the case. Could be the case.
Another danger being rolled here. And I think it was a Mothman he revealed, correct?
Yeah, another one.
Yeah. How many 6s are we going to get here? 4. There it is. All right. Snow.
Unfortunately banished. And yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well.
Because now with the Ariser gone, is he playing like Zeus?
He has Exit and Knight.
He banished the Zeus.
Only playing one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays one.
One Zeus, one Exiton. Exiton hit previous turn.
Yeah.
So the answers are getting quite thin now. Do Garez draw 2, discard maybe?
Very unfortunate, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna scoop it up. It's too much to handle, those 5 zones, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he tried his best, but in the end the opening from Anchi was just too much, and it is instead Anchi who takes this game 1, not Alberto. I mean, it was about time we saw what the Kashtira deck can do and is able to just lock everything up, and this is what went through. You mentioned it, Anchi, an expert of this kind of locking strategies, you know it well yourself, and we are seeing it in action again. But now, how the tables have turned. So let's see if Alberto is able to actually completely end loop him. Going first, based on what we said previously, I think he's not going to side that much, right?
Yeah, I think Dart World is, you know, just a turbo through your deck, try and resolve those combos, get to those Silva hand loops, I think is the key point here.
Yeah, I mean, I see a Cold by the Grave that will go in, just preventing a Dimension Shifter being activated, that in case that...
Or the one roll and lock.
Or the one.
Which is amazing, by the way, against Dark World. So,
it is.
Yeah, if that gets thrown, that's insane, yeah. But at the same time, he does play 3 copies of Skill Drain.
Yeah.
So maybe he'd swap those out with the Kaiju, because similarly to Cyberstein, whenever you draw Skill Drain throughout the combo, why not? It's like decent enough. And Anchi, yeah, what do you think he's gonna do?
I mean, you need to stop the hand loop is the most important thing, and it looks like his list, his side deck, isn't really designed for dealing with such a sort of combo style deck like that. Other than the shifters, you know, he's playing Dark Ruler, he's playing Kurikara. These cards don't really deal with Dark World.
Yeah, so it's probably shifter, one draw or bust, we could say for this, for this game too. But definitely interesting, and it would be fair, to be honest, that they both combo through and then they decided it out in game 3. But let's go back to the table as our duelists are finishing signing up.
So hopefully we get to demonstrate just exactly what Dark World is capable of. Going first, you know, we mentioned a lot about the Silva hand loops, extremely powerful effect that doesn't actually discard or banish me, it returns to the deck, which is probably the most powerful way to remove from the hands.
Yeah. And funnily enough, now I'm just thinking back to the events we went through, the 100th YCS, which was the largest by far and the largest TCG tournament ever, was won by Dark World.
YCS
And this
Long
is
Beach.
right after. This is the second largest tournament. So maybe we could get imagine after that many years again a win by Dark World. Yeah.
The irony, it wasn't even a Dark World meta really back then.
No, at all. Like today, you know. Yeah. So.
All right, Bigfoot is being revealed here. Let's see if we can hit some good Dark Worlds out of the hand. Oh, that is the worst situation. Oh,
what a punish.
I know exactly what that feels like. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Okay, Chupacabra comes next.
Trying again. This time it wouldn't be as bad, but still, you really want to draw some cards. At least the good news is there is no shifter. So
yeah. And on resolution here, Silva gets to special summon itself as it was discarded.
Is there gonna be a draw and lock?
Yeah, resolution.
Nope.
All right, it might be safe for Alberto to do what he has to do here. All right, this is one of the this is the new support card for Dark World. A discard. Simply add a copy of Gates of Dark World from deck. Oh,
Ash Blossom.
Okay,
it's huge.
Okay, pretty big. And another danger. Okay, Jackalope. Let's see.
All right, 50-50 here.
Okay,
a rainbow.
A rainbow. Okay, this is nice actually, not that bad. Gonna trigger, then bounce back potentially the Silva to be special summoned. Yep, gonna explain it again. Rainbow, one of the new cards, if we can call them that, from the structure. So really strong. You can get it back. It's similar to Grapha in the graveyard, as you can special summon it. But then again, if it's discarded, you can add one Dark World.
Now, what I'm worried about here is Alberto, because of that hit on the Bigfoot, potentially maybe running out of gas?
Maybe, but at the same time, he still has, whenever he feels like, the potential option of going for a Skull Dread for 4 materials, which is nice.
Yeah, being able to utilize that draw 4 and returning a card.
Ooh, and this is nice.
Anyway, banishing the Genta. And Genta, when banished, has an effect. Yeah. So it combos really well with itself because you can discard it, add Gates of Dark World, then banish it for the effect of Gates of Dark World, discarding the Grapha and drawing a card with the Gates.
No, this is totally fine, honestly. This is still really, really good. Just explaining some of this effects to, obviously, Anchi, but he has a lot of options. Rank 4s in this deck are very versatile. Yeah.
Dagaris is a good option. I love that card. Saryuja, as you already mentioned. Saryuja is not typically in the meta, right? What was the last good deck Saryuja used? It was another danger deck. Danger Dark World, I feel.
Yeah, with the Thunder Dragons or Dragon Link, you know, those kind of decks where you turbo through. But he draws into.
Is this is this another Genta that's resolving?
I just bounced it back.
Yeah, he bounced it back and then used the effect. Yeah, makes sense. And this is nice because pretty much no cards are once per turn, so you can do some very sick loops.
Despite the fact that it's new, usually new support has the clause once per turn, but we had to keep the theme of Dark World, not once per turn. Very important for the deck. Yeah, lore, story mode,
yeah.
All right, well.
Here we see
normal summon.
another Genta.
Yeah.
And we might see the XYZ summon to just draw 2, discard 1, and skip the next draw phase. Yeah, that's gonna be the play most likely. Number 60, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was learning this deck the other week, and I was playing against my friend. And, you know, activating all these dangers and resolving all these extra deck monsters. And then before I knew it, there's a Muckraker, a Fusion, a guy in the field, and like 8 cards in hand. Like, how did this happen? All right.
Can be very complicated at times, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a simple deck.
And here is the Saryuja.
Here's 4.
Nice.
All right. Now, will we be drawing a power spell? We have card destruction, which is extremely good in this deck.
Or the Cyberstein.
Or the Cyberstein, yeah, which we can just
Cyberstein.
special summon with the effect of Saryuja. Multiple effects on Saryuja, 1 effect per material used for its summon.
Synergies.
Yeah. It's almost as if it was designed for this deck. It
True.
works so well.
And again, one of the prize cards, the OG, the original prize card from back in 2004. So.
I thought you meant Saryuja for a second.
No, I don't think, I mean, 2004 Saryuja.
It used to be a ritual monster before it turned into a different shade of blue. Okay, so bouncing the Silva to the hand here, recurring those resources to use the effect of Rainbow, as you mentioned, the very similar effect to Grapha. Yeah, so just adding 2 cards back to the hand, essentially.
Yep.
And cards in hand are important because either you want to be able to resolve as many dangers as possible, or a potential card destruction. Here's the 3rd Gates of Dark World being searched for from the deck this turn.
Yeah. Really trying to do the best of what he can with this hand, and yeah, gonna go and activate again the few spells. So.
It's also nice to see the approach, how it changed, because back then Dark World was played with a lot of traps, no?
Yeah.
So it was more
a lot of virus.
controlled
Honestly,
deck.
virus were probably popularized by Dark World decks.
Did you ever play Malefics and like the trade-ins and sending the Stardust?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Those are some old versions of Dark World. It's been through a couple of iterations here. Here's the Accession. It's one of their newer cards here. It allows you to fusion summon by actually discarding instead of the sort of conventional just sending the materials to the graveyard, which is very much on theme with how Dark World functions, and also is a quick play. So what you can also do is fusion summon on your opponent's turn, trigger the Dark Worlds in your hand, disruption like Dark World, allow you to fuse and pop in the process.
Yeah.
Does also allow you to banish as well. And there he is.
There is the Grapha, yeah?
Grapha's fusion form is here on the field.
Threatening for sure. And he gets another Grapha from the deck.
Suddenly, a Ash Blossom just does not feel like enough, does it?
No, for a brief moment, just because of that Bigfoot snipe, it looked like, let's see if there is a Cyberstein. I want to see the Cyberstein.
Here's a special summon.
Yes, there it is. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, as mentioned, the Saryuja does allow you to special summon it from your hand, and Cyberstein simply paying 5,000 life points. A little bit too much for speed duo, but
There
enough
it is.
in this game here to bring out Exterio, also boosted by the effect of the mandatory Saryuja, bringing it up to 3,100.
Hyped, honestly. Look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, so as long as you have 1 card in graveyard, you're able to just infinitely use Exterio. Because you mill and banish a card from your grave to negate spell and trap. Well, I guess
pretty much giving back the 5 block for spell and trap zone to his opponent, you know.
Another danger coming down here. Still has some steam here. All right. It's the Grapha, nice.
Okay.
And another Mothman, all right, okay. So typically what you want to do generally is you want to get all of these extra deck monsters out onto the field as soon as possible, like your Saryuja, your Exterio, potentially things like Masquerena, and then you can go for Muckraker. And that card is actually somehow a really good extender in Dark World. It's almost as if it was designed for it. It works so well with Fiends.
Again, the same loop with Grapha and Rainbow getting 2 cards back. This is really a convincing show from Alberto.
20 minutes on the clock, and we're still on turn 1 of game 2 here, so Sometimes maybe you have to consider time here if you're Anchi, but probably not quite at that point yet where, you know, I think like, oh, I'm going to lose this one. Let's go to game 3, go first, try and do the zone lock again. But still has a chance here. Like we said, a couple of his side deck options do have a lot of ways to contend with a big field like this.
Now Allure Darkness to even turbo through more.
It is literally possible to just see your whole deck in one turn. That's why, you know, things like that.
It wouldn't be that smart, but it's possible, yeah.
Definitely works. All right, looks like we're going for a Link Summon here. Is it going to be Mask or Muckraker? It is, it is Muckraker. Shall we say a reference to the tour guide from the Underworld?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Muckraker allows you to target a fiend in your graveyard except itself. You can discard a card and then special that monster, and you can't special the rest of the turn except fiends. So I'm not really sure what you would do after the Muckraker. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, it also works as a protection potentially. So it protects all of your cards by just tributing it. So that's why we have been seeing it a little bit in Sprite as well.
There's a way to use it twice, I think, right?
Potentially, yeah. But it's mainly another layer of protection, and let's see here if he's gonna still continue.
Well, bringing back any Dart World from the graveyard means you can again go for that loop, as you mentioned. Discarding the snow as well. Wow.
Stop. It's already dead. Yeah.
Oh no. All right, well, we're only playing one copy of Accession, so we're going to go for the continuous spell card now. This is Dark World Archives, which I think when you discard, you can draw 2 and discard again, I think. Let's have a look here.
Basically, yeah, pretty much is when you discard once, then it activates. But you can potentially use it first to trigger itself, then in a new chain.
All right. Okay, so again, remember, Fiend locked at this point, so I'm not too sure what kind of options are left here, but this is a big setup here, having removed the, well, essentially forced your opponent out on the Ash Blossom. And yeah, Dragon Lord of Darkworld and Exterio are extremely powerful cards to rely on.
Is he playing other XYZs outside of Exodon, or?
No, he's playing Apollousa.
Apollousa, yeah, maybe Masquerade, Apollousa, you could go something along those lines.
Well, he is field locked, Fiend locked, remember?
Yeah.
Now, Kashtira going second into a field like this, it's winnable, I think, right?
I mean, it's doable. I mean, of course, you have to deal with a lot of stuff. It really depends also on what your opponent is ending on, because now we are seeing basically Alberto continuing. But
I don't think,
Nightmare Cerberus here, just to use the effect of the archives. Discard Silva. All right, drawing 2 off the top of the deck here.
Drawing. Because are you sure you actually used the effect yet of the Muckraker? That's my doubt. I don't know if he just summoned it and still hasn't activated the Reborn effect.
No, I'm fairly certain he used Muckraker. Which is why I'm like wondering now, okay, where do we go from here? Okay. And he, we just play Nightmare Griffin? That's a Fiend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could maybe potentially try and lock with Nightmare Griffin?
Interesting, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, you have to be careful. You should put it in the middle, because then otherwise you can get your own cards. But
yeah,
looks like that might be the end board. Yeah, probably a Griffin in the middle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You okay there?
Okay.
All right, so it looks like to be that is going to be his last play, is going to go for the Nightmare Griffin, but he's just trying to debate on where exactly he's going to go. Okay, no, it's ending on this. All right.
Never mind. Okay.
It's not that impressive after all of that, I feel.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the exterior is really nice, but I agree with you that maybe more could have been done, but let's see. Plays back to his opponent, and he goes for Birth.
Okay, well,
what?
All right.
I think he forgot.
Okay, no, let's... check exterior stacks.
Yeah, you
Because-
just banish one card from the graveyard to negate
Yeah,
it,
and,
right?
then, and banish one and mill one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just checking whether it negates that. Yeah, because otherwise.
Yeah, if it negates the effect or activation.
Yeah,
Oh, well, he
exactly.
was one card away from drawing Skill Drain. I suppose that would have been really, really good.
Yeah, the nail in the coffin. But why would you use the birth?
Is there
Does
an
he think-
advantage to putting a Kashtira in the grave in this situation?
Maybe as the Scarecrow, but I can't quite
Does banish from the
tell.
hand if he needs it to.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he really needs to. Let's see. Ooh. Probably Farrier, Unicorn. Yeah, that's a Unicorn. Okay, let's see. He does have the Grapha, potentially, as another layer of disruption, but...
Kurikara.
Ooh, interesting. That's why he used
That
it.
makes sense.
Now it makes more
Yep.
sense. So gonna get rid of the exterior because of the Kurikara, who gets to 3,000 attack.
Oh, is it 3,000?
Yeah. Against, yeah.
It's 1,000 for...
1,500 for
15.
each tributed, yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't forget as well, the Fusion Dark World here, the Grapha, is still boosted by Saryujo.
And here we see... Okay, never mind.
He was about to consider going for a Fusion there.
Yeah, yeah.
Into a second copy. And it looks like Battle Phase.
Yeah, because I think we were already in the battle phase, and that can only be used in the main phase. So
Ah, yeah.
he probably allowed his opponent to enter the battle phase.
Yeah,
and then,
slight oversight there.
yeah. And we must keep in mind he's only at 3,000 because of Cyberstein, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think there was really a way to go for a game there. You really needed your Battle Phase to try and
No, for
force
sure.
things out.
Okay, now we are seeing the Grapha on the effect of Unicorn, it seems like.
Yeah, so Graph allows you to discard to negate. Does it destroy?
No, essentially
No,
it
yeah.
turns into discard a card from your opponent.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
it's the silver. So it comes with the silver.
Yep,
Hey, so he just hand looped him for 2.
he will. Exactly. So now,
So the thing with Dart Worlds, they all have great effects when you
Exactly.
discard them. But if your opponent discards,
they
from
become insane. They become insane. And that's the whole point of the combo, which we actually didn't see, which would have been using the Ceruli, which kind of abuses this aspect of Dark Worlds, and then you get to cycle through basically looping for 4 guaranteed at least. So
Yeah, that is one way to approach that going first, but potentially that Ash Blossom was enough to stop the Dart World combo from getting really out of hand, but it looks like we've done just enough here with our Kurikara and the Battle Phase of the Unicorn to try and play in main phase 2. No,
probably he's only playing... I don't know why he wouldn't use then the accession, because now he can't, obviously, but...
why can't he use it now?
No, no. Now he could have used it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like after he's playing 2 copies of the Fusion, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
So like, because at the beginning of the main phase, your opponent has the priority to use the Unicorn, right? But when they get to the Theosis, you could have flipped the accession, make a second Grapha, and then negate the accession, I think. Because it's not an hard once per turn, right? Oh no, it is. It is.
It's a hard one per turn?
Yeah. Okay. No, never mind. So he couldn't actually go for it. So then, yeah, the opening was not the greatest, but I mean, Kurikara definitely the MVP at the moment.
So what can you really do with Kashtira to break a field like this after you've used your Battle Phase? Because typically, you know, going second, the power play is like something like Zeus. You don't have too
But
much.
what if you just go for Diabolosis and you mill their entire
Yeah,
deck?
because
That is that's an option.
option. Yeah, right.
Okay, all right.
Like I don't know how many cards are left, but it
I don't think
shouldn't be
there are
many.
many, right?
It's not that
Yeah.
many. Yeah, look, that's what he's doing. He's counting
Yeah.
the number of cards.
Around 15, right?
Okay, actually, more than expected, but still possibly doable.
All right. Well, if there's anyone who can find a way to go into a alternate win condition, it's definitely Anchi.
The king of alternate win condition, yeah.
Okay, Shangri-La's effect was activated this turn. That means that we can use Rice Heart, almost like a Zodiac.
Yep. But you need to get to the materials, so...
Yeah, he does need to get 3 to be able to try and start picking apart this field here. Another
Okay,
power-
Dark Arm probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I asked the question earlier, what tools do you have at your disposal to try and crack fields? And Dark Arm Dragon of Annihilation, a not once per turn effect to detach and destroy a card.
Yeah, that gets banished, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, now he's gonna force out.
So he knew this was Accession. Why do you think he's targeting it anyway? Just to force out the and then try and hit the Grapha again?
Essentially, yes. You also force out, you know, some cards that should all get banished, exactly, and then you get more attachment from the Arise Art. And now the really nice synergy is that you can see that you get to banish one from the grave, which is the Theosis that gets you back a card for, like in this case, the Big Bang. So still counting, but only the face down really matters. So.
Talked a little bit about time earlier, and we're maybe approaching that stage of the duel where you hit single digits.
Yeah.
Some strategy needs to come into play here.
Yeah, especially because like Alberto comboed it off for at least 15 minutes, something like that.
50-minute exterior.
Absolutely. And now again he goes for the Dark Armed.
All right. Well, trying his hardest to see if we can get... Ideally, you're trying to like end on maybe like 6 materials so that you can use it once on your turn, then again on your opponent's.
Yeah.
If you can't go for like an alternate deck out.
He's actually using the Nessie, okay. Because now the deck out is not an option anymore. He decided to just try and clear as much of this field as possible, and yeah, let's just take a look at whatever he gets, the Mothman. This could actually end up in a draw. That's also possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Well, don't forget, there is a massive life point deficit right now.
I know, but...
So if Anchi can simply survive, he'll be ahead on life points.
Yeah. But those monsters are big.
Yeah, these are pretty big.
Also, the only thing I'm worried about, but I'm not gonna pretend I remember, is whichever of those have been summoned under Saruja to just get the boost, you know?
I think at this point it's just the
fusion.
Probably just the fusion, yeah.
So it is at 31, and if we don't get rid of it now, when it goes back to Alberto's turn, it should be online again, right?
Absolutely.
As well, I mean, it is online now, I think, right? As he's revealing this Mothman.
Honestly, this seems doable.
Yeah. On whose part?
No, from Alberto.
Yeah.
I mean, the only worry is, as I mentioned, 8 minutes. What kind of extra like monster could be useful here? Is he playing? Because the Cerberus is gone, right?
Cerberus is gone.
So does he play Unicorn or I don't know?
He doesn't.
He doesn't play Unicorn.
So anything useful at all? I don't know.
He's got Akashic Magician that can bounce something.
Okay.
I don't think you want to go for Giant Trainer. That thing locks you out of your battle phase. Yeah, I mean, Dugara's gives you double attack, but that was already used.
Okay, so we see the Arise Art. Yeah. I suddenly saw the exterior on the field. I was like, what's going on? Yeah. He resolved the Arise Art on the fusion, apparently. And now he's gonna get back the Rainbow.
You know, situations like this, these are like very, very complicated game states.
No, so I think this was still the turn. That's why we are a little confused. He's using the Kurikari effect, but he couldn't special summon the exterior because Cyberstein does not fusion summon, it just special summons, you know?
Yeah.
So he has to get back the Rainbow from Kurikara, and now finally we are on Alberto's turn, who just immediately enters the battle phase.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think it makes sense. So at least he gets immediately rid of the Rise Art.
But he has to play super fast with just a oh my
Scoops it up, recognizing that oversight on the attack.
Why
there.
though? That was not enough, right? It was a 3,000.
I think he probably just felt that he was in a losing situation.
I mean, sometimes that's how it is. And congratulations to both. They gave out a really good show, nonetheless, for this round 8. But in the end, Unfortunately, yeah, Alberto, the name is there. So he did lose, and still, congratulations to both players. They are still perfectly able to make it to the top cut, and they gotta keep their composure and play this one last round remaining for day one, which is crucial, at least for Alberto, I gotta say. Anci, even if worst case scenario he loses here, 8-1 is really good score. Yeah. So at the same time, I mean, we just went through. They're both really powerful combo decks. When they go first, they can pretty much lock out their opponents. But maybe at the end there for Alberto, he got too excited on his opening, and that was too much. But before we head out to the interviews, we can, guys, finally show you some additional information of YCS London 2023. So let's bring up on the screen the breakdown for the event. And as I was saying, not much of a surprise that Kashtira is the most represented deck, but it is a surprise that, as you can see, the top 5 decks are roughly around 50%, and everything else is composed, I can tell you, of 3, 2, even 1% of decks. And it's what we have seen all day. A lot of different decks and a lot of different duelists from all over the world. Are you surprised by anything in specific? Maybe Labyrinth?
Well, I think Kashtira, in my opinion, I would have expected to be a little bit higher in the representation. What I am surprised about is Branded being more popular than Sprite.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you with Kashtira, but I thought that Sprite players would have been, you know, highest in number, no, rather than Branded players. But also because we have seen a lot of different variants of Sprite, no, this weekend. So it's
I think that's what boosts the numbers. You know, there's Naturia, there's like the Frog version, there's some Melfi, which I don't think we've seen yet.
But here, maybe less surprising, as you can see, Great Britain representing with 47% of players. That's incredible, wow.
Yeah, this is YCS London celebrating the 250th YCS. Naturally, the hometown advantage to the United Kingdom.
Probably beating even the UK National Championship, I gotta say, in numbers. So a really incredible achievement. But right after there was Italy, France, a lot of other top countries. At the end of the day, for tonight, we'll only see one more round. But then tomorrow we'll find out the breakdown for top 64. And whoever will actually win YCS 250. But now we have Anci with Ed for the winner interview. So thank you guys for being with us for round 8. But let's hear it from them.
Thank you very much, Marcello. I am joined by Anci, who's just won that round 8. I mistakenly said round 7 at the start because my brain turned off for a second. But we are in round 8, only one more round to go later today. But I am here with our round 8 winner. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Nice.
Yeah?
I feel nice, yeah.
Good. How many, you haven't dropped any games yet, have you?
No. Doesn't drop.
Well, there we go. That's what we want to hear. So Kashtira, this is the first time we've had, you're the third Kashtira feature match that we've had today. But you're the first time that we've seen Shangri-Ira do a lot of the interactions with blocking out 5 or 4 or 5 of the zones. So let's go through some of the moments that we had throughout each of those games. It was quite a long fought battle. So you got full combo turn 1. You locked out those 5 zones with the 2 Shangri-Ira. There was a moment where Kaiju'd one of the Shangri-Ira, so it was down to the 4. You just dominated the field, and as the guys were saying, we just really got to see what Kashtira can do. So are you quite experienced with Kashtira at this point? Were you feeling confident in game 1?
I doesn't feel confident because I doesn't draw non-engine cards. I draw only engine cards, and it has only one way to full lock zone your opponent. If you don't lock zone the opponent, a Rasa pass is not good.
That's true. Yeah. So then we move into the second game. So there was a moment where you ashed him, but he managed to play around it a bit. There was then Cyberstein, Exterio, Saryu, just built this really huge field. But then we saw those life points ticking down. But like Cyberstein's a huge risk with the 5,000 life point thing. And then just as we got to the end, you managed to bait out the Exterio effect to then summon out the Kurikara by tributing the Exterio. So talk to us about how you were trying to think about playing around Exterio.
Yeah. My first way to play around Exterio because I activate the birth. I have also the free spell, but I need a free spell for the later. And birth, I can search it with Unicorn. I I wanted first summon my Kurikara first, and I have some first unicorn. Then I summon Kurikara to
have some of those interactions.
to hit stereo.
Yeah.
And I don't want to active first other cards because of the Dark Lord. I don't know the fusion name.
One of the Dark Lords, yeah.
Yeah. And if I active another card, like, he can change the effect to I discard one card and discard one card, and he still want to put back 2 cards from my hand. If he put back my Kurikara, I'm gonna lost. So I need to first out his stereo with my Kurikara.
I mean, let's talk about the end as well, because you built into a Rise Heart. There was a slight misplay with the exterior, because there was that point where we had to reverse the game state a little bit. But then at the end, when he only had 1,000 life points left, I think there was a lot of calculations, and we were maybe wondering if the calculations were done wrong and that he just scooped. But what was happening from your perspective during the final moments of that game?
I think my opponent forget Kurikara had 3,000 attack, not 1.5, and he attacked it. Maybe he had no out versus my Rise Heart. He attacked my Arasat, and I don't know what's happened.
And that was game. And that's what you won. So congratulations, you've done really well getting through this. There's only one more round of Swiss left for the day. Are you feeling confident? Are there any decks that you're nervous about going up against over the rest of the Swiss rounds?
I was not nervous. I'm feeling confident.
That's what we want to hear. We love confidence here at these YCS coverages. Congratulations again, Anchi. Best of luck in those next rounds, especially the one that we've got left. Guys, don't go anywhere, because we've got that final round of today's coverage coming up very soon.